What is the most extreme act of loving kindness you would undertake for someone you love? And how do you know if you love someone enough to perform that act of loving kindness? At Teacher Training College, they teach you lots of stuff. For me, it was science. How to manage a classroom, how to prepare lessons, how to plan to run practicals, how to mark books. But nobody taught me to love my students. However, over many years in education, I've come to believe that there is nothing more important than the relationship you create with those in your classroom. You should love your students as much as you love your own children. And trust me, I love my own children very, very much. This is the story of how I learned that loving your students is the foundation for everything and anything you will do for them. In 1997, the 8th grade in my high school in Israel embarked on their annual 3-day Tiyul. This was the highlight of the school year for any Israeli student when they'd get to leave their classrooms and travel the country with their friends and teachers. During this particular year, with the peace treaty between Israel and Jordan having been signed just over 2 years previously, the hiking group from my school, my 8th grade students, decided to visit the Island of Peace in Naharaim. Under the 1994 peace treaty, the lands in Naharaim were recognised to be under Jordanian sovereignty, but the treaty gave Israel special provisions to use the land and allow Israelis free access as well. It's situated between Tiberias and Bet Sha'an. Naharaim symbolised a utopia of peace. Naharaim was a place where both Israelis and Jordanians could see that peace was indeed possible. On that day, a Jordanian soldier was on security in the watchtower on the island. The tour bus arrived and the girls and their teachers disembarked. The field of flowers was inviting. The girls ran towards it, free and excited. Within moments, shots rang out from the rifle of the Jordanian soldier. 7 beautiful young girls were cut down in their prime. More would have died had their teachers not thrown themselves on top of their students to keep them down in the grass and protect them from the onslaught. And only the jamming of the soldier's rifle prevented further bloodshed. Other students and some of the teachers were injured. One teacher was airlifted to Jordan, and there were concerns for her whereabouts as the authorities would not communicate with Israel to update them. It took the intervention of King Hussein, the King of Jordan himself, to see her safe return to an Israeli hospital. The days in the aftermath of the tragedy are etched in my memory. I realised that I, a teacher of only 2 or 3 years' experience, would never encounter anything so challenging in my educational career as that. Believe me, I've seen and experienced many difficult things over the past 22 years that I have worked in education, and I still believe this to be true. Tragedy can make you resilient. I learnt many things during that week. That when your students are in school and under your care, you are truly in loco parentis. You are their parent. You must look after them and protect them as if they were your own. Even the ones you find difficult to connect with, even the ones who don't hand in their homework, even the ones who aren't wearing their uniform properly, and even the ones who try and throw your lessons off track. These are all different ways I've come to learn in which students send you messages. As a teacher, it's my job to work out what that message is. And the only messages I need to send in return are, you can trust me, I care about you, and our relationship, I believe, is the foundation towards your future success. I learnt that day that there is nothing a teacher who truly loves their student won't do in order to protect them, no matter how the student may have behaved prior to the moment when it counts. Here you see the memorial to the 7 girls who were killed, and it was only just a year ago, on the 20th anniversary, that I was able to visit for the first time. Next time you practice an evacuation drill and you laugh at the idea of your teacher barricading the door, and sometimes with their own body in order to protect you, know this is real, not imagined. Your teacher loves you enough to do that. The only thing you have to do is to make it easy for them to love you. The nation of Israel also learnt a lesson in humility that week when the king of Jordan, King Hussein, came in person to my town to pay his respects at the shiva of the families of the 7 girls who were murdered by his soldier. On bended knee, he begged their forgiveness. He, a king, the most royal and majestic of people, performed an act that many of us would consider beneath us for even lesser transgressions. And every year, just before Purim, I say a prayer for Natalie, Shiri, Nirit, Keren, Ya'ala, Adi, and Sivan. Students who sat in my classroom doing my homework and sometimes disrupting my lessons, but students who I loved. These were my students, so where was I? My life was saved by my unborn child. Almost 9 months pregnant that year, I didn't go on the hike. Who knows what might have been had this not been the case? And 2 weeks later, I became a mother once again for the 3rd time, loving my new child fiercely and having learnt the lesson of a teacher's love for their student, that it is of prime importance. I believe it has guided me in everything I have done in education ever since. That is how you love your students at the highest level.